Hello and welcome back to second instalment of Made in Yorkshire. First video we had to put some lights up because I couldn't really see anything in here and neither could you, so that wasn't really very woodworky, and that's what the channel's supposed to be about. So really what I should do is the electrics next, because you can probably see in the background it looks a bit like spaghetti. But being a woodwork channel, I'm thinking, really? Another electrics video? So I will do that later on, but for now I think we'll just do a very simple woodwork project with a bit of a twist. So we're going to have a go at making a scaffold board shelf. Here we go. So most people, when they think about a scaffold board shelf, they think about a bit of scaffold board. You can see the top quality. It's roughly, what's that, 215 by 33ish. They do vary a bit. Sometimes it's just thinner, and sometimes this is not the same measurement, but invariably they've all got the same cupping problem, as you can see. But yeah, you can take this, clean it up a bit. Probably needs a decently coarse grinder to get all the thick off. Put some bracketry on it, something like this. It's probably a bit lightweight really, but I've used them before. As long as you're not putting anything too heavy on it, it's fine. Something like that, or you can even have some of these fancy floating shelf models, which basically this section is drilled and buried inside there, and this section here is meant to expand, so it's like a wall plug, and it has like a steel ferrule in the edge, in the end, and as you tighten this in, obviously all this expands and probably gives you a fantastic sort of anchor point. So yeah, there's various things you can do with a lump of scaffold board, but you've probably seen that a million times before. But what I found was a lot of stuff that you might throw away, so I'll just get rid of that in a second. So this is an atypical piece of scaffold board that you'll scrounge off a site or out of a skip. It's an offcut. And you'll see a lot of them suffer from this splitting down the middle. You can see it's just starting on the back as well. So by the time you've unbanded all this, chances are, first time you give this any grief, then this split's just going to complete, and then you're going to have two pieces of scaffold board. And generally probably end up throwing it in the bin or cutting it up for firewood or whatever, which is a bit of a pity because these things have got a lot of character to them, and you know, I think they deserve a bit better than that. So I think what we're going to do is show you what you can do if you've got a split scaffold board, which I don't think I've seen before. So let's find one I made earlier. So definitely, you know, one for the log burner, I'd say. But we're going to save this little fella, and we're going to turn him into quite a nice sort of live edge effect, which I'll come on to later. And it's not going to take a lot of weight, but yeah, brackets like this but smaller, and I think it'll turn out really nice. So let's have a go. So I've introduced a bit of this non-slip matting. It's not perfect, it does still move and what have you, but it just gives it an element of stability, and it stops this resonating as much, because I do have neighbours and I don't think they appreciate my woodworking as much as I appreciate my woodworking. So I'm going to set off with all the usual stuff, some P40 and the trusty DeWalt. I have just actually recently, I'm a big fan of cheap tools because I've already told you I'm a Yorkshireman and I'm quite famous for looking for a bargain, shall we say. So I find a lot of the Parkside stuff from Lidl pretty good quality really, not all of it, but some of it, and I've just bought one of their battery orbital sanders random. So I'm going to do that, a bit of an unboxing and and a review at some point as well. But for now we're going to stick with the DeWalt, and we'll give it a bit of random. Noisy. So as you can see, I've taken off all the heavy stuff and got it to a point where I'm not going to get any splinters out of it. We'll sort these edges out as well. They're a bit too rough for my liking, I think. Or maybe we'll leave them, I don't know. We'll see how this effect goes on this edge first. But yeah, let's leave it at that for now, for the sanding anyway, and we'll get on with this effect I've been telling you about. Bear with. So this effect I'm about to show you is not my invention at all. I saw it maybe about a year ago, and I just thought that's really clever. You know, that's a clever thing to do. You see a lot of people when they make stuff out of pallet wood or reclaimed wood or whatever, you know, they'll get stuff a blowtorch and then they'll lightly blow over it, just to char the surface, you know, and then they'll come stain it. But with pine like this sort of very soft wood, I think it just looks a bit dated. So that's not what we're going to do. We're going to go for a much heavier burn, and then I'll show you what happens next. A bit of gas. I've moved smoke alarm. There we go. So what we're trying to do is burn the softwood. Get a good char on that. I'm not trying to get too much onto the face of the plank. Just trying to get this edge grain. Don't worry, I've got a bucket of water standing by, but I've done a lot of this and I'm still here. So yeah, we're just trying to burn that face, and it leaves a harder wood. It's a lot more burning. Me and my wife are a big fan of this effect. We've got a lot of pieces that look like it. But it's something it's a lot harder on the end grain. But we'll put it in there just for a bit of continuity. Yeah, the end grain just resists the flame a lot more. Well, you can get it. A bit more on the knot. Even if the knot's quite hard, it tends to resist as well. And there we have it. So, that's quite nice already. Nice effects, whichever way you have it. I quite like it that way, but my wife is just, you know, so you can see it all the time rather than just below it. So now we're going to move on to step 2. Stay tuned. I made fire. Bit of a clean up. There you go. Lovely. Okay, so I've clamped it up in a couple of F clamps just to give me some sort of rigidity in it, stop it flying off the bench. I've got my patent and dust extraction system. It works, not fantastically, it works. For this I'm going to have to wear a mask because it does make a real mess. I don't know why I bothered tidying the top of the bench up. And we're going to be using one of these fibrous, I don't know what you call it really, sanding discs. I'll find the name out, put it on the screen. And basically what we're going to try and do is take all this burnt wood off to reveal what's underneath. So let's have a look. And because I'm going to be wearing a mask, there we go, and I'm going to be using the dust extraction system, I'm going to hand you over to my colleague. Quite well. So I'm not sure if the camera will pick this up, but basically what we've done, we've just sort of ground away all that burnt softwood, like the heartwood I think it's called, and it leaves these, you can probably hear it, these ridges. And if I could burn that again, and you get an even deeper effect. I don't know if you can see from the edge of the camera, but yeah, you get this lovely sort of, but not so much on the end grain because I say that's pretty much all hard stuff anyway. But yeah, we get this lovely effect. I think what we'll do now is give the top another sanding, and then we're not far off. Nice. Right, so I'm going to go for that. What do we have? P40. And we'll go to a P60. Had a few of those in my time. There we go. Trusty DeWalt, do your stuff. patented camera holder. I keep headbutting. You can take the lad out of Yorkshire, you can't take the Yorkshire out of the lad. Right, it's a bit of P120. I'm not going to be too mad with this, I'm going to denib it. Apply the finish. There you go, bit of thumb action. This is not speeded up, this is just how fast I am. I'm like a sanding machine. I'm a sander. Okay, I won't touch the front edge because I get rid of too much of that burn effect. So when I first saw this, apparently it's an effect called Shishugi-ban, I think I'm pronouncing that right. And they do it much better than this. You know, they really go to town on it and use some really vibrant dyes and what have you, blues, reds, and it's amazing. If I can find the video I first saw it on, I'll link it below, because it really is quite interesting. I'm just sort of doing a very Yorkshire version of it. But no, it's kind of getting there now. So I think what we'll do next is apply a bit of finish. I'll probably call that it for tonight, because it is, what time are we on? Oh, it's getting on for 5:25. My neighbours, like I said, don't like my woodworking as much as I do, but finish is quite quiet, so let's do that. Finish time. And Amazon really are very easy. Not only do they send you stuff before you've actually seemed to have ordered it, they send you all the same stuff that you can reuse. Because being the Yorkshireman I am, I'm as tight as a gnat's chuff. Let's just straighten you up there. There we go. Okay, so I'm using this Danish oil. Use it on a lot of stuff. I quite like the finish of the wood. I'm not a big one for, you know, doing it in walnut or teak. You know, if it's made out of a scaffold board, you know, I want it to look like a scaffold board, not pretending to be something else. I'll give it a good shake up. Good old pot noodle. Not only does it give you a delicious snack, you can also reuse their containers. So, there you go. Bit of that, bit of that, bit of this action. Let's put a nice generous coat on. It's not really, you know, sort of destined for being used outside, but I suppose you could do. Nothing to say you can't. I think the Danish oil is sort of waterproof or water resistant, but no, I think most people would have this up in their house. I think that's the beauty of it as well. It's, you know, you take a rubbish bit of discarded timber, scaffold board, or whatever you want to call it, and hopefully make it into something, you know, that Mrs. Jones would be quite happy to have up in a parlour. Or Mr. Jones. Any of the Joneses really. It's getting a bit slippery now. I should probably really put some gloves on before I started this. Hindsight, you know, it's a wonderful thing. Look at that, how dark that is. Beautiful. I like the view. Do his opposite number. Mr. Pot Noodle, out of the way. Right. because I'm a Yorkshireman, I'll be pouring that back into the tin, don't you worry. Right, somewhere there's a pizza with my name on it and some sort of cloth to get these de-danished. So I'll leave it for now. Just pop it up on a couple of chocks. What we got? A bit of that, a bit of that. We'll let that go off overnight. It is October here in sunny Yorkshire, so it's quite cold. It's been raining today, what a surprise. But I think that should still go off overnight. It's not getting to freezing temperatures or anything. And we'll check back in tomorrow. See you in a minute. It's tomorrow, so last night we got up to putting the finish on, and we'll let that go off overnight, and I think we're ready to finish it off, so nearly there. Come on. How's the patient doing? Okay, I think. So as we've already described in the first video, this whole place is an ongoing process, so I'll get a proper bench vise set up at some point. I originally had 2 of these soft jaws, but one seems to have departed company, so we'll go with a black packer instead. Okay. Rightio, so let's decide on a distancing. So I'm thinking within this long, I'll go for 70mm. There. There. Big that which at the top. Yeah, that's it. That's the right way around. Okay, so that's on my 70mm line. Don't know if anybody's got some of these. I'm sure lots of you have. Very, very useful hinge drills. Self-centering and little spring. It's just really cool when you're doing stuff like this, because especially in these softer woods, you tend to find, you know, you're trying to drill a hole in the centre and then it slips because of the grain and then it's off centre. So they're only dirt cheap, a few pounds for about 4 different sizes depending on what screws you're using. Right, back on the centre line. I don't know if you can see. Perfectly centered in the hole. Do some of that. Maybe. Back. 30mm Phillips. Bit of rattling. Slightly overbent that one. There's a line, there it is. There we go. Pretty much, you could leave it to that if you wanted. You've got 2 holes for mounting into your wall. You could beef it up by putting some extra fixings in here. I don't think it really needs it. You know, like I say, that probably can't tell from there, but that's pretty strong. It's not going anywhere, definitely. Not unless you start putting, I don't know, car batteries or something on it. Well, you won't put a car battery on it. But yeah, pretty much that's it done. So, like I said, I would give it another. I will give it another coat of the oil, but I don't want to bore you to death with that. But once it is coated up, for its second coat. I'll chuck a still in maybe at the end. But yeah, dead simple project. We've not touched a saw. We've done a bit of sanding, tiny bit of drilling and driving, no hammers involved, and we've come up with this beautiful thing. So yeah, well, thanks for bearing with me, thanks for watching. I have to get this phrase right. Comment, like and subscribe. It makes a big difference. I've got to find a load of hundreds of pounders to finish the plywood off in the garage. It's plywood floor, plywood walls. So if I can make a few quid out of this video, it might help towards that. But yeah, we've made something quite beautiful. I think most people, if you're into this kind of sort of rustic look, would be quite happy to have that on the wall. Maybe as a spice rack or a condiments rack, or maybe just some picture frames on it. But yeah, I just love, it's cost basically nothing. I mean, these are a few pence. But yeah, you get a scrap lump of wood and you end up with a lovely shelf. See you next time.